Hello there, very good evening and welcome to your Primetime News Bulletin. I'm Shane Silva.
And I'm Arundhati Mudanayaka.
A staggering 4 million rupees are to be spent on a workshop on good governance for members and officials at the Colombo Municipal Council 16 months after a similar 3-day workshop was held.
Tonight on Action TV, we will be taking a look at why the Colombo taxpayers' money is being utilised in such a frivolous fashion. But before that, here's a look at tonight's headlines.
Boom gates installed after the train accident in Alugama kills 6 people. Former political head of the LTTE, Thamilini, released after being rehabilitated. The Lanka Samasamaj Party says that there is no representation in the Parliamentary Select Committee appointed to find a solution to the national problem. And in news overseas, Julia Gillard loses leadership of Australia's Labour Party.
And now the stories in detail. Australian Prime Minister Julia Gillard resigned today after the Australian Labour Party voted her out of its leadership. In a historic leadership vote, former Australian Prime Minister Kevin Rudd turned the tables on Julia Gillard, led the Australian Labour Party with 57 votes against Gillard's 45. Well, news first, Nadim Majid, who has been closely following developments in Australia in the run-up to September's general election, reports.
Announcing the result this evening, the returning officer of the Labour caucus, Chris Hayes, said that Rudd had won the leadership ballot with 57 votes against Gillard's 45.
57 votes, Julia Gillard 45 votes.
Was there a spill for the deputy?
There's no spill for the deputy position.
Deputy Prime Minister Wayne Swan, Senate leader Stephen Conroy, along with Joe Ludwig and Craig Emerson, have all quit cabinet following the vote. Australia's Attorney General Mark Dreyfus has said that he will not resign and that it is an honour to serve in a Labour government, irrespective of who the leader is.
I understand that at the caucus meeting today, the pressure finally got too great for many of my colleagues. I respect that and I respect the decision that they have made. But I do say to my caucus colleagues, don't lack the guts, don't lack the fortitude, don't lack the resilience to go out there with our Labor agenda and to win this election. I know that it can be done.
Speaking news first, earlier this afternoon, upon the announcement of the result, Michael Smith, an investigative journalist and political analyst in Australia, who first revealed the extent of corruption investigations into PM Julia Gillard, said that the election of Rudd as party leader will give a boost for the party at elections later this year.
Mr Rudd is going to have problems with gaining the confidence of the House. The House of Representatives, by a vote on the floor of the House, determines whether or not a government has the confidence of that House. Now, there are 3 independents who had a deal with Ms Gillard, and they say that their deal will not, they won't honour that deal with Kevin Rudd. So it may well be that Australia is looking at an early election, and I think that would reflect the will of the people. There is a great desire for a fresh ballot.
The News First International desk has been closely monitoring the developments on this story and on several occasions highlighted the extent of what is now famously known as the AWA scandal involving Australian Prime Minister Julia Gillard.
Yeah, the matter was first brought to my attention by a former union official who saw it happen. Then I received a heap of documents, and the core document for me was a form that the Prime Minister filled out when she was a lawyer, and that form was a false instrument that she presented to the Commissioner for Corporate Affairs and which he then used to incorporate a sham entity, a sham corporate entity.
Gillard ousted Rudd, who won elections against the Liberal Party led by then Prime Minister John Howard 2 years into Rudd's government, becoming Australia's first unelected woman Prime Minister, a move that earned her the ire of many Labour supporters in the country. News First Bureau correspondent in Canberra, Warren Jansen, said that if Australia ends up with a hung parliament as a result of the leadership change, Rudd could call for elections as early as August.
Now, what this
means is that Rudd would probably go to an election. He may go in for an election in August as opposed to the September 14th election date, and that would mean some significant campaigning for Rudd as well, because he would have to do quite a bit for the voters to warm up to him, but I'm sure that wouldn't be too much of a problem given the vast experience he has. This is Warren Johnson reporting from Canberra in Australia for News First.
In keeping with Australian political tradition, Gillard has now addressed a letter to Government House, the official residence of the Governor-General of Australia, informing her of her wish to resign from the position of Prime Minister owing to the change in party leadership. The Governor-General will then commission Kevin Rudd as Prime Minister of Australia for the second time, mere months away from a decisive general election. Nadim Majid, News First.
Welcome back to the news. Let's take a look now at some of the views that have been expressed by various factions on the political stage on the 13th Amendment to the Constitution and elections for the Northern Provincial Council.
The
JVP is saying that they will not join the select committee appointed to amend the 13th Amendment. The JVP says that they do not want the 13th Amendment and are asking for it to be repealed in its entirety. That means to go on as it is. From May Day onwards, we have asked that these powers be amended. We asked for its facts to be removed. This is a simple matter. It would be correct to do this before the TNA comes into power. We believe that the effort that has been taken by the government will move forward. We believe that this process will conclude soon. We will have to take a political decision if this does not occur. Single nationalist groups in the government are trying to build an opinion that there is no problem with the Eastern Provincial Council, the Southern or the Central, but certain sections must be removed for the Northern Provincial Council. What should happen now is that solutions must be provided for the problems being faced by the Tamil people. Instead, what is happening is that they are clinging on to the provincial councils, which will not provide a solution in any way. We think that through this dialogue on removing sections of it, they will not hand it over in its entirety. The other side says that they need the provincial councils in their entirety. The other side is asking for the entire pound of flesh. The stomachs of the ordinary people will not be filled by police powers and land powers. Those who want to achieve what Prabhakaran failed to achieve are the ones who want police and land powers. Dividing police and land powers will not bring about national unity. We need to remove these concepts to unite the country without divisions. We wish to know that if an election is to be held, then it is suitable to remove the police and land powers provided by the 13th Amendment and abolish the power of provincial councils merging and functioning as one council. The question is whether the 13th Amendment will be given or not, whether provincial councils will be given or not. The Mahasangha must not become extremist or nationalist. The chief prelates have not become nationalist. They have not become extremists. They expressed moderate views and moved forward. I believe that the Mahasangha now will also act in this manner. Nevertheless, it is clear that the Mahasangha must arrive at some decision in unity.
We
need to prioritize issues because although naturally there will be a focus on matters relating to the 13th Amendment, that will not be exclusive. The Parliamentary Select Committee's mandate is wide enough to include other matters relating to constitutional reform going beyond the specific issues relevant to the structure of the 13th Amendment.
I'm sorry that the LSSP and myself personally have been left out of the Select Committee of Parliament that is being appointed to work out a solution to the national question and iron out any shortcomings in the 13th Amendment. the LSSP has, from its inception, been interested in bringing about national unity and rectifying any injustices done to the Tamil and Muslim populations in our country. So when the select committee is being set up to bring about national unity, I think it is only correct that the LSSP should be a part of this process, and particularly in my case, I have for over 3 years been the chairman of the All Party Representatives Committee.
You're watching News First, and up next is a look at the newspaper cartoon of the day, which we selected from amongst today's English newspapers.
The accident that took place close to the Alutgama railway station last night claimed the lives of 6 people. All 6 victims in last night's tragedy were women whose lives were cut short at an unguarded level crossing.
A group of residents from Ambagaha Kumbura in Dodangoda met with this accident while en route to witness Posun celebrations in Balapitiya. The van in which they were travelling in collided with an express train plying from Colombo to Hikkadua. The accident occurred at around 6:45 last evening at an unguarded level crossing located near the Purvarama temple in Alutgama. The van was hit by the train and was dragged nearly 250 meters before falling into a nearby canal. It has been reported that 11 persons, including children, were travelling in the van and 5 women had died on the spot. The 6th victim, a 22-year-old woman, succumbed to her injuries at the Nagoda hospital early this morning. The injured are receiving treatment in hospital and a 7-year-old boy is among them. Locals in the area staged a demonstration last night. News First visited the location today as well to look into the aftermath of this tragic accident.
The News First team arrived here today and witnessed a temporary solution being taken.
5 women aged 39, 52, 20, 23, 22 and a 14-year-old girl were killed in the accident.
If this temporary gate was built here in 24 hours, then why can't a permanent solution be put?
Railway authorities point out that there are 775 such unguarded level crossings located across the country. We took a look back at certain unguarded level crossings from where accidents were reported. Railway commuters too face numerous difficulties due to such accidents, and they too request the authorities to provide an immediate solution to this problem.
শেষ করলাম